The officials, Tom Harrington, Bobby Hunt, and Kelly Self today. As LaFrance and Mikey Moore to jump it, and B.J. Williams comes away with it. Pass the alley-oop and the easy two to Rafe LaFrance.
Well, exactly what Kansas wants to do. Get out in a hurry, get this crowd out of it. This crowd is pumped up for senior day, but Nebraska doesn't get that tip and then doesn't get back to stop Rafe LaFrance.
Garner missed some games in the middle of the season as he is fouled by B.J. Williams.
Take a look at this. B.J. Williams gets the loose ball. Mikey Moore thinks he's going on offense, goes the opposite way. Rafe LaFrance takes advantage and goes right to the glass. Mikey Moore a little bit pumped up, getting that senior recognition. Didn't realize which way he was going, Roger.
Moore working inside. Nice drop step. Can't get it down. And out of bounds will be Kansas basketball. You mentioned some good matchups. The Lou Vaughn is the obvious, but Moore and LaFrance will be interesting too.
Well, Nebraska matches up so well against Kansas because of the size that Nebraska has. Not many teams have 6'11", 6'10" like Kansas does, but Nebraska's got not only height inside, but body size as well.
As Vaughn goes to the hoop that time and draws the foul on Lou.
Well, you see Jacques Vaughn taking it immediately to the glass, something he hasn't been doing a lot of this year since he's come back from his wrist injury early. He's been really looking to distribute the ball, but right there he takes Teron Lou right to the glass. Maybe a look for Kansas to try and get Lou in trouble, because really Nebraska has no one else if Teron Lou is not in that point guard spot.
That's a good point, Chris. And, you know, Lou really gets pumped up to meet this guy, Jacques Vaughn, as every point guard in the Big 12 and around the nation does. But I think Lou really looks at it as something special.
Yeah, he looks at it as a way to make a statement that, hey, he's one of the better point guards as well, and he loves to play against Jacques Vaughn.
So Kansas has jumped out to a 3-0 lead, and one of the problems Nebraska's had this year is they have fallen behind in a lot of games. They've been able to come back in a number of them. As you see, Lou drops it to Moore. Good penetration into the pass.
And that shows you the level of maturity that Lou has got just in 2 years, because before he would have tried to take this shot up. Look at Lou, breaks Jacques Vaughn down, gets past him, but recognizes the help that LaFrance coming and dishes it off to Moore for the easy dunk. You know, Teron Lou, only a sophomore, has really come a long way.
Count it. Jared Haas took it to the hole that time. And the foul's going to be on Moore.
Well, Nebraska definitely can't afford to lose Mikey Moore. Mikey Moore looks like he's actually in position there, but the call doesn't go their way. One of the things that Danny Nee was concerned about was foul trouble on his big man, and Jared Haas breaking down the defense that easy on the perimeter really puts a big load on your big guys to be able to help underneath.
Kansas now with a 6-2 lead over Nebraska. Belcher takes it to the hole and draws the foul. Reach-in's going to be on B.J. Williams, so Williams quickly picks up a couple, and that's going to get Scott Pollard off the bench for the University of Kansas. And Pollard will come in, and Williams will sit down, and basically Pollard has had a hard time, Chris, coming back from that stress fracture. We were talking to Roy Williams before the game, and they really thought that he'd be back at full strength before now.
Well, he only had 13 minutes against K-State in his first game back, 7 minutes the other night at Oklahoma. A lot of pain still in the foot. You know, Roger, when you get a stress fracture in a big guy like that, a lot of times he'll favor it a lot, and that's what Scott Pollard's been doing, and B.J. Williams has won the starting position. But bad sign for Kansas, because all of a sudden it puts Kansas in a position where they have to play Scott Pollard.
Belcher missed them both, not surprisingly. He's only a 50% free throw shooter. And quickly the transition to the other end, and LaFrance the easy two from Vaughn.
Fantastic pass by Jacques Vaughn. Nebraska concerned about Kansas's transition.
Teron Lou knocks it down. Just a two-pointer for Lou. And quickly down to the other end. Vaughn will swing it. Now that puts Moore on Pollard inside, as Pierce tried to go in there, and Nebraska comes away with it. Lou, the pull-up. That's two. Won't go, and LaFrance the rebound.
Quick pull-up by Lou. You're going to see that. He takes a lot of shots. He's the main man offensively for Nebraska. He's allowed to do that.
Kansas has hit all three from the floor. They lose it there, and Garner picks it up. Jayhawks by 4 points.
Got to wonder if Scott Pollard just not in the rhythm of it, not expecting that pass from Paul Pierce, something that he probably would have earlier in the season.
Foul's going to be called on Jock Vaughn as he was reaching in on Mikey Moore. First foul on Vaughn.
When these two teams meet, you're going to have a lot of fouls. Both teams very physical, like to attack you defensively. Actually, if the game's loose, that's going to be more in Nebraska's favor than Kansas's, because Nebraska does not have a deep bench, but a lot of calls early.
Lawrence can't get it, and LaFrance the rebound. This is what Nebraska fears, the Kansas transition. Lou got a piece of it. Vaughn took it in, no call. That'll remain Kansas basketball. Substitution now as Vincent Hamilton will check into the game. Hamilton, a sophomore from Forest City, North Carolina, Oak Hill Academy, comes into the game, and Moore will sit down. Pierce on top, knocks it down. That's a three for Paul Pierce. Had his career high, hit 5 3-pointers against Nebraska in the '96 season. But he has really cut down on his three-point shooting this year, but he's been more effective from three-point line, Chris.
Much more selective on their shots, and in the shots that he's taken, he's getting set, been able to get a good look at the basket, and much better percentage than last year.
That's Garner with the left hand, and LaFrance the rebound. Quickly, here comes Jock Vaughn. Pass, that's the three. Won't go. Pollard the offensive board, the stick back.
Well, that's the thing that Kansas missed at Lawrence in their first meeting. Scott Pollard was out with that stress fracture, but that big body in there just pushing Nebraska underneath the goal. He's able to get the little follow-up.
16:33 left to go first half. Kansas 13-4 as Garner hits the turnaround shot. Garner was a guy that ran into some problems, disciplinary problems in midseason, as the reach-in is going to be on Lou, and that's his second.
Well, the last time these teams met, Nebraska really manhandled Kansas inside, out-rebounded them by 13 in that game. You see Scott Pollard just pushing Hamilton all the way underneath the basket, whereas Hamilton's not effective. He's going to go up, he's going to hit the rim.
On the inbounds pass is blocked by Belcher. Out of bounds, it'll remain with Kansas. Danny Nee has sent in a couple of substitutions. Markowski, 44, has checked into the game. And Alvin Mitchell in for Lou, the backup point guard.
Well, 16 minutes left of the game, and you got Tyronn Lue on the bench with 2 fouls. Can expect a big, huge boost here from Alvin Mitchell.
Stripped away from Pollard, and that's Mitchell. Belcher, number 30, freshman from Mexico, Missouri, same hometown as Tyronn Lue. And Garner, who I mentioned had some disciplinary problems midseason, has come back and played off the wall as Hamilton gets the shot inside.
Boy, fantastic move by Hamilton underneath. Just shoved Scott Pollard all the way underneath, and you see Paul Pierce getting the turnover on the perimeter.
We've got a timeout on the floor, 15:47 left to go first half. And Kansas by 5. Now Garner's got it underneath. It looked like LaFrance might have had a piece of it. No call that time, and Pollard comes down with the rebound. Quickly, Vaughn to Pierce and the traveling. Kansas has out-rebounded Nebraska 9-2 so far. These are the top 2 rebounding teams in the Big 12. Nebraska, as a matter of fact, out-rebounded Kansas in that overtime game down in Lawrence.
Well, out-rebounded by 13. You wonder if Scott Pollard's presence in there is really helping out Kansas, or Nebraska just not being effective on the glass. Paul Pierce now with 2 quick turnovers. He had 6 the last time these 2.
Good help that time by LaFrance. Vaughn is able to get away and finds pass in the corner. He's guarded by Mitchell. And they'll kick it out on top now, inside to Pollard. And knocked away in there, and then the whistle from the outside. And the foul's going to be on Hamilton. Boy, Kansas really does a good job of help on defense, Chris.
Well, that's the whole premise of their defense is rotation. You see Jared Haas forces baseline and gets beat, and Rafe LaFrance comes in and does a nice job of not overcommitting and gets the block shot. On the other side, Scott Pollard's got Hamilton on his hip. No help from Nebraska at all. You see the lanes wide open, allowing Scott Pollard plenty of room to work in there. Pollard still a little bit slow off that injury, not as quick to the basket as he normally was. Usually earlier in the year that would have been a dunk for him, but Kansas did a really nice job of spreading the floor that time. Hamilton left all alone on Scott Pollard.
Pollard much better at the free throw line this year. You can see his numbers right there. Last year, just a 63% free throw shooter, and he knocks both of those down. So Pollard with 4 points off the bench. This is 3rd game back after that stress fracture injury after missing 8 in Kansas with a 7-point lead. Lou is checked back into the game. So is Mikey Moore, as Kansas had it momentarily, and then Markowski gets it back for Nebraska. So now they have Mitchell and Lou in the backcourt at the same time. And Billy Thomas in there for the Jayhawks, number 12.
Well, Alvin Mitchell didn't even play against Oklahoma State Wednesday night.
Kansas has won their last 5. Nebraska 4 of their last 5 as Lou takes it inside. Pollard with the rebound.
One looking out. Kansas doing a fantastic job on the defensive glass, keeping Nebraska away from it. They got their hand on a few balls, but really no good looks.
LaFrance for that patented turnaround shot won't go there, and Moore with the rebound. Here comes Lou.
In a physical game right now, the referee's allowing it to be played that way, and Kansas is taking advantage of it. Nebraska hasn't adjusted.
Inside, Pollard off the turnover. LaFrance hit the deck. And here comes Jock Vaughn. Kicks it outside, Billy Thomas. Vaughn now for 3. Won't go. Markowski skies for the rebound. Lou,
great look over the top. Mikey Moore just running. Teron Lou puts it where the big guy can do something with it. Doesn't throw it on the floor and make him go down for it. Lets him reach up, get the easy dunk.
Pollard inside against Hamilton. Pierce passes up Pollard to go across court to Thomas, and inside, of course, to Jock. As Greek LaFrance with a sweep. So LaFrance with 6 points. Good ball movement that time by the Kansas Jayhawks. 28-1 on the season, 14-1 in the Big 12. The only loss, the double overtime defeat in Columbia against the University of Missouri, and that was a terrific, one of the best college basketball games you'll ever want to see. As Moore working against Pollard, the jump hook won't go, and here comes Billy Thomas. Vaughn nails it. That's a 3.
Now they wave it off and call it a 2.
Now they
instead.
call it a 2. One official called it a 3. The other called it a 2.
Foot was on the line.
34, Troy Piatkowski, a sophomore from Rapid City, South Dakota, checks in. You see some scores. South Carolina, the win over Kentucky today. And Xavier defeating Virginia Tech. Piatkowski name sounds familiar. Of course, his brother was a great player here, now with the Clippers. And Virginia upsets Maryland. Hamilton, B.J. Williams, who just checked back in with the block. Jayhawks lead it by 9. And away from the basketball, T.J. Pugh, who had just checked into the game, number 32 for Kansas. Fouled by Mikey Moore, and that's his 2nd foul on Mikey Moore.
Well, they cannot afford to lose Mikey Moore inside. Not even for a few minutes. They've got to have him in the game almost 40 minutes because they really don't have anybody else to go to.
Thomas for 3. Can't get it. And Nick Bradford, who also has just come into the game, commits the foul against Lou. So Bradford, the freshman out of Fayetteville, Arkansas, with his first foul.
Now Nebraska doing a nice job of finding the shooters that time in the inbounds play. Kansas is so effective out of bounds underneath, getting open somebody to shoot the ball, but that time Nebraska matched up well and found them.
Well, Billy Thomas has struggled. He's just 3 of 18 in his last 4 games. As inside, the foul on T.J. Pugh, who is from Omaha. And we got a timeout with 11:57. First half from Lincoln. 19-10, Kansas leads at 11:55 to go first half. Roger Twybo, Chris Piper with you in Lincoln, Nebraska. Jayhawks have gone small now. They've got B.J. Williams, T.J. Pugh, Nick Bradford, Billy Thomas, and Jock Vaughn in there now. So their biggest man, Pugh, at 6'8", and he commits his 2nd foul. And Jock Vaughn will get a rest as Mikey Moore will go to the free throw line. Moore, 71% free throw shooter on the season. You know, Danny Nee thinks his best basketball might be ahead of him.
Well, he's just coming around. There's no doubt about it. Everybody's known about him as a shot blocker, but offensively his skills are just starting to get there.
He is the Nebraska career leader in block shots with 228, and he's had 80 on this season. And on the missed free throw, the foul on Markowski.
Well, both teams scraping for every loose ball that they can, and Markowski holding on to B.J. Williams. He gets the call that time. You see Nebraska with a little full court pressure against this team that Kansas has got on the floor without Jacques Vaughn at the point.
Well, Robertson showed what he could do at the point early this year. He did a terrific job for the Jayhawks, taking the place of the injured Jacques Vaughn. Nice pass there to Haas for three. In and out, won't go. Williams gets the rebound. Off the official, Nebraska basketball.
Now, great hands by Markowski. B.J. Williams did a nice job of getting the rebound, but he had the ball down close to his body, and Markowski gets it. And you see the scramble for the loose ball. They're going to call it Nebraska ball.
Larry Florence is checked back in for Nebraska. He wears number 5. And also Rafe LaFrentz is back into the game. Florence is a real tough defensive player. He usually gets the forward on the other team that can really light it up as Lou takes it. Missed, but the follow there by Vincent Hamilton.
And no box out by Kansas, and Vincent Hamilton really been a fantastic surprise for Nebraska. What a great job he's done, especially on the offensive glass.
That 12 points, 12 rebounds against the Jayhawks in their earlier meeting as Pierce can't get it to go. Tipped around, and Nebraska comes away with it. Larry Florence over to Belcher. Air ball inside as LaFrentz comes away with it, and Ryan Robertson has the handle on it. 6-point Kansas lead. Kansas has won the last 4 here in Lincoln, but the 2 previous ones went to Nebraska as LaFrentz gets it. So Rafe LaFrentz with 8. And the Kansas lead back to 8 at 21-13.
Well, you just can't let Rafe LaFrentz get that position inside. If he is, he's going to score. And if he does get the ball inside, you got to run another guy out and help.
Lou, probably one area they'd like to see him improve on is the assists area. His turnover and assists are just about even on the year.
Well, they ask him to do so many things.
Hamilton and count it. Boy, Hamilton showed you some strength right there. At 6'9" and 240.
See the mismatch inside. Hamilton talking about he's got Robertson on him, nobody else. And Robertson not going to be able to do much against Hamilton. Kansas not able to switch off of that.
Foul was on Ryan Robertson. This is what we talked about, how these teams match up so well. And Hamilton at 6'9", 240, and with Moore in there at 6'11", really goes well against that Kansas front line.
Well, Kansas got to do a better job of, if they do get switched on him, getting back and helping on the pickup, and nobody did, and Nebraska recognized it.
Pierce finds LaFrentz, and it spins out, and Nebraska comes away with it. Larry Florence got the rebound. 5-point game with 9.5 to go. First half as Lou kicks it out to Belcher on the wing for 3. Hits! Cookie Belcher.
Well, give Lou credit on that. A sweet crossover move, cleared him. Able to draw the defense to him, and he kicked it out to Belcher for the 3.
Ryan Robertson in the lane. Pierce took a look. That's about the 3rd traveling violation on Paul Pierce so far today.
Well, they're keeping an eye on that foot of Paul Pierce. You wonder where that came from, but Paul Pierce now 3 turnovers. Look at that crossover move. Lou just left everybody inside, and that allows Cookie Belcher to get the clean look at the basket.
118 assists, 110 turnovers on the season. As you see, Kansas with 7 turnovers so far, but as I mentioned, Lou's turnover assist ratio not great, but he's been good so far today. As the turnover against Nebraska, Haas finds LaFrentz, and he got it. Rafe LaFrentz now with 10. That stopped a 9-2 Nebraska run.
Well, that play also created by Lou's inability to get in there and play defense. He was afraid to get a 3rd foul. He let Jared Haas go right by him.
23-19, 8.5 to go. First half from Lincoln, Mikey Moore couldn't get that one over Pollard as LaFrentz hits the deck. Pierce from Haas pass, and a beautiful pass from Jared Haas.
A fantastic catch by Paul Pierce.
20-second timeout, ball timeout.
And a 20-second timeout for the Cornhuskers. And after that 9-2 run, now Kansas with a couple of quick hoops to get the lead back to 6. This is a sellout crowd here at the Devaney Center in Lincoln, Nebraska. It's always seems like, Chris, and you remember from your days, their biggest game of the year.
Oh, definitely. It's a huge game. They'll mob the floor if they win it. Something they've been looking forward to all season.
Kansas has won the last 2 here. They lost the previous 4. As you check some other scores on the ABC Sports Board, Roy Williams with a victory today could surpass former North Carolina State coach Everett Case for getting the most wins in a 9-year period in NCAA history. He's got 241 so far, 241 and 57 in 9 years. That's nearly 81%. And just Jerry Tarkanian has a better winning percentage among active coaches.
They win 8th year now in a row.
Belcher.
25 plus.
And count it, and that's Pollard that went down. Now they wave off the basket. The final regular season Big 12 game for Kansas and Nebraska. Of course, the Big 12 tournament gets underway Thursday at Kemper Arena in Kansas City as Vaughn kicks it out to Pierce on the side for 3. Hits it. Paul Pierce, his second tray of the day. And Kansas now with a nice little run of their own, a 7-0 run as Lou loses it off Pierce. And it will be Nebraska basketball. You know, Tyronn Lue, Chris, has scored 22 or more points in 9 of 15 Big 12 games. I mean, this young man has really stepped it up in conference play. He's had a terrific year, but he's really shown well in conference as the basket put in there by Vincent Hamilton.
Well, he's put the team on his back, and really they need some help from somebody else because that is why he's really suffering on the turnover end. He's playing so many minutes, doing so much offensively.
Nice move by Scott Pollard. So Pollard now with 6 points.
Well, Nebraska's just getting shoved underneath the basket by Kansas. And if you give the guy the ball that close to the basket, he's going to score. But also, Nebraska has no pressure on the ball on the passer that's throwing the ball in to the big guy.
Hamilton with 9 points to lead Nebraska. But Lue just scoots right by Vaughn there.
He is so fast with the ball in his hands. I mean, Jacques Vaughn is a great defensive player and pretty quick in his own right.
Pass into Pollard, and he can't handle it.
Well, that's what Nebraska's going to have to do. If they're going to front the post, they got to shove him in underneath the basket and use the out-of-bounds line as another defender.
Lue had 26 points and a career-high 8 rebounds in the meeting down in Lawrence. In that game, Vaughn with just 10. And I think maybe the youngster Tyronn Lue thinks he might have a leg up on that veteran Jacques Vaughn at the moment. So far today, he's got just 4. He's on the steal. Kansas with it inside. And the ball was tipped there by Belcher as Haas tried to get it into LaFrance. And now we're going to get a change. Now, this is about the 4th time today we've had an overrule from one official to the other.
Tyronn Lue should have got that ball. If you can get to a ball, get it, because you don't want to put the onus on the officials to make the call. And it's the correct call because the ball was deflected, but you got to go grab the ball.
Danny Nee arguing his case. You see, Belcher got a piece of the pass. I don't know if LaFrance really ever touched it tonight. The ball goes to Kansas as Haas will measure from 3-point land. Can't get it down. Pollard, the offensive rebound. And they're going to call an offensive foul on Pollard as he was trying to make the pass.
Boy, you would have thought that call would have come a little earlier, but because he did shove off to get the rebound, and they called it on the pass.
And Roy Williams said, you got to let him pass the ball. All he was trying to do was pass it. But, the officials saw something. Might be a little bit of contact from the elbow. As we have under 6 minutes to go first half, Jayhawks lead the Cornhuskers by 7. Tough turnaround shot. Boy, nice move by Larry Florence, his first 2.
Well, Florence not known as a scorer, but that was a great move. Had to move the ball around in the air to create an opening to shoot it.
Florence, a terrific defensive player, matched up on Paul Pierce. Little 2-man game between Haas and LaFrance. And Pollard the tip in. So Scott Pollard's come off the bench today to score 8 points, and Kansas leads it by 7.
That's so frustrating for Nebraska. Great defense. Couldn't do a better job against LaFrance, but then they don't block.
Oh, what a tough shot by Teron Lou.
Does he just answer every time Kansas gets 2? Here he comes. Teron Lou back again.
You know, Danny Nia said, we've ridden this kid too long and too hard this season. He's tired. And he says that's where those turnovers come. He makes some mistakes late in the game, but he says we don't have anybody else, and we got to go with him as Vaughn takes it inside. And there was a real battle going on between Garner and Pollard on the inside. So it's Vaughn, Lou, Vaughn, back and forth.
No Nebraska weak side help that time. Garner too busy trying to keep Pollard out, and Lou really can't get up too close defensively. He doesn't want to pick up his 3rd foul.
Pass stolen inside by Pierce. LaFrance waving for it. Vaughn didn't see him until it was too late. Pass now will drive the baseline and is able to draw the foul.
We talked about these 2 great point guards that we're going to take a look at today, Teron Lou and Jacques Vaughn. Look at this move that Teron Lou is going to throw on Jacques Vaughn. He gets through him, gets through the help defense, and just throws it up off the glass. But then Jacques Vaughn right back. Look at it. No help side defense from Nebraska, and Teron Lou can't really get up on Jacques Vaughn. Jacques Vaughn does a little spin and takes it to the glass. The 2 different types of player, Roger. Jacques Vaughn, he's going to do what it takes to win. If it's making the pass or scoring or whatever, he's going to do that. Teron Lou has to score for Nebraska to win.
Haas at the free throw line, misses it. One of the things that's a big difference for Haas, Vaughn, and Pollard this year, they've all upped their free throw percentage by about 10 percentage points this year as compared to last year. Haas, a 70% free throw shooter this year.
But not only at the free throw line, but also on the floor. Jared Haas really struggled last year from the floor, but this year he's shooting well from the free throw line, from the floor.
Billy Thomas, TJ Pugh, Ryan Robertson, DJ Williams, and Paul Pearson there for Kansas. Lou and Mikey Moore, Garner, Florence, and Markowski for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, who feel if they can win this game and get 1 win in the Big 12 tournament, they should get an NCAA tournament berth. As Larry Florence not able to save it. There's a little history in '85 when the NCAA went to 64 teams. Every Big 8 team that had 17 Division I wins and they were 500 in conference got in the tournament. But I put in parentheses Big 8 because this is the Big 12 now, and so things are going to be looked at differently. But Danny feels pretty confident. They've won 4 of their last 5. They beat Iowa State a week ago Saturday. They were ranked in the top 10 at that time, so they've got a case to be made for them.
Well, definitely. They've played some great teams. You look at their early schedule, 4 of their first 5 losses were against teams that were in the top 20.
Mikey Moore the rebound, and here come the Cornhuskers. They trail it by 8 with 3:45, and ball loose, and Robertson's on the back of Lou, no call. Mikey Moore's trying to call a timeout. Well, guess what? We got a timeout. Kansas 35, Nebraska 27. Roger Twibble, Chris Piper back with you at the Devaney Center of Lincoln, Nebraska. Sold out house today for the Cornhuskers and the Jayhawks. Lou on the baseline. Robertson blocked it, and Paul Pierce comes down with it. Robertson at 6'5" with a big height advantage over the 6-foot Teron Lou.
Nice play by Nebraska. Nice pass by Mikey Moore on the backdoor cut, but you said it with Robertson's height at 6'5". Teron Lou just not able to get it up over him.
And on a Wide World Classic, Julie Moss's dramatic second-place finish in the 82 Ironman Triathlon. And folks, if you missed it in 82, you need to watch it this time around, as they're going to call no basket interference that time on Kansas.
Well, Paul Pierce finally getting inside without traveling, but Andy Markowski holds his ground and does a good job of staying with him. You see Scott Pollard definitely over the rim, touches the ball while it's in the cylinder.
Nebraska not a threat from three-point land. They've attempted the fewest three-pointers in the Big 12 this year. They've made one today. Belcher hit one. That's Piatkowski for 3. And it's saved by Lou, but Billy Thomas gets it. Thomas will step back from three-point land, and that's short. And Piatkowski comes down with it. I was just going to mention he had a career high of 11 points against Oklahoma State the other night, and that was really a big boost, getting some offensive production from him off the bench.
Well, especially out on the perimeter, 3 for 4 from the three-point line, and they definitely need that.
As I mentioned, they don't take any threes. Garner just tried one and missed one, so the last two have gone astray, but that's been a real weak spot for them this year, as their opponents have scored on an average about 7 more points a game from three-point line this year. And the Cornhuskers, as Pierce leans in, LaFrentz keeps it alive, and Paul Pierce comes away with it.
Well, Kansas is just destroying Nebraska on the rebounds. I mean, 23-19 or 23-9 at that last timeout as far as rebounds, and you see Kansas getting second looks on the offensive glass as well.
35-27.
Oh, great.
LaFrentz. Oh, what a move underneath. Good reversal right there by Rafe LaFrentz.
He has that ability to just hang and adjust that shot to find an opening, and that was a nice pass by Paul Pierce.
Rafe's got 12 points, and he has really stepped it up over the last 10 games. I mean, he's played well all season as Garner misses a three, and the Jayhawks have the numbers with Pierce in the middle to LaFrentz, and he throws it down. Rafe LaFrentz with 14. Oh, man, since Pollard went out with that injury 11 games ago, LaFrentz has upped his scoring, upped his rebounding, and upped his field goal percentage late in the year, and for a big man, that's tough to do.
And his whole attitude has changed, Roger, as well. He's just a lot more physical. He wants the ball. He wants to take it at you. He wants to score.
Well, he's showing you, Chris, what a great athlete he is for a guy at 6'11".
Well, he can run the floor as well as, or better than any big man in the country at 6'11", and he has all the skills. It was just a question of whether he wanted it enough. I mean, we know that he wanted it, but to have that aggressive attitude to take it right at you, that's really what he's developed here in the last 10 or 11 games.
Check out some other scores on the ABC Sports Board. 39-27. Well, there's a lot of talk already. Will Rafe LaFrentz come back for his senior year? That's going to be a lot of speculation until a definitive answer is put forth by the junior from Monona, Iowa. As on the turnover, Kansas will take a 20-second timeout with 33 seconds left to go first half. And the Jayhawks with a 39-27 lead in Kansas City, where they've done a lot of remodeling, added some extra seats this year to handle the 4 new schools that will join the course teams from the Big 8 that make up the Big 12 Conference.
Well, Nebraska's switched up to a little zone defense here.
Lob inside, LaFrentz. He's got 16. And it's the biggest lead at 41-27.
Just because you go to a zone defense does not mean that you can become inactive in that defense, and that's what Nebraska was, just standing there basically, and Kansas exploited it.
And with just a second left and Lou driving to the hoop, he's able to draw the foul.
Well, a bad mistake there by Kansas to foul Tyronn Lue with only 1 second left on the clock. You see Tyronn Lue get past Jacques Vaughn. Jacques Vaughn reaches in, puts Lue at the free throw line, but Tyronn Lue, probably one of the fastest guys you're ever going to see with the ball in his hand.
No question about it. Played at Raytown South High School in Kansas City, as B.J. Williams will check in. Lue's an 83% free throw shooter, has been to the line more than any other Nebraska player this year. He's led them in scoring 17 times. And, you know, it's interesting about Lue, the second half is really his half. That's when he lights it up. As the clock will run out, we've reached halftime here in Lincoln with Kansas leading the Cornhuskers of Nebraska 41-28. So we are set to go. Second half. Tyronn Lue with 7 points in the first half. And Chris, you mentioned during the halftime he's got 6 assists today.
6 assists, his career high's 9 assists. He was really distributing the ball well, but they're going to need to get some points from him.
Vaughn and Pierce, Haas, LaFrentz, and B.J. Williams as the turnover goes to Nebraska.
You talk about a big first half. Rafe LaFrentz 8 for 11 from the floor, 16.6 rebounds. That's a whole game for a lot of guys.
He is just really, since Pollard went out, stepped it up huge. As the alley-oop inside that time, and finishing it is Cookie Belcher.
Well, that's one of the best looks that Nebraska's had probably about the last 8 minutes going back into the first half. They got the ball to the glass, had a nice pass from Tyronn Lue, and Tyronn Lue getting close to that 9 assist point.
Good look inside to LaFrentz, and Weak side help came across, and Rafe with an air ball as Lou will push it down the pull-up, and it looked like Vaughn either got a piece of the ball or got a piece of him, and quickly Vaughn at the other end, 2-on-1, will take it all the way and finish it. Jock Vaughn with 7 points. I'll tell you, when Lou and Vaughn have the basketball, you cannot look away for a second. It's back and forth and back and forth.
Don't look away because they're going to be running up and down the floor.
I want to say it's about the 5th or 6th toughest schedule in the country.
Yeah, they've played a real tough schedule, and you know they've given them some good competition, but this game here is going to seal their fate. They have got to beat Kansas at home.
I just talked to Bill Byrne, their athletic director, at halftime. He says we've got to win this game today if we want to get to the NCAA tournament, or unless they do something spectacular at the Big 12 tournament.
Well, you either win today or you win the tournament, one of the two.
And Garner's not able to get either of them. Just underway, second half from the Devaney Center in Lincoln, where there are 14,759 on hand today, the largest crowd of the year and the 7th largest ever, as Haas looks from three-point land off the top of the backboard, and it'll be Nebraska basketball. The last time the Cornhuskers beat a #1 ranked team was back in 1982, and that was against Missouri. 13-point Kansas lead as Belcher got trapped on the baseline. Here's Vaughn with Haas. Vaughn underneath it. Spectacular move by Jock Vaughn.
Not only a great move by Jacques Vaughn, but the 3rd foul on Tyronn Lue. Let's watch Jacques Vaughn getting it out in the open. He's an exciting player in his own right. Gets the body foul there on Tyronn Lue and able to get it up and spin it. You know, Jacques Vaughn's been having trouble finishing a lot of layups in the past few games, but this one he gets to go down with a great move, and not only that, but Tyronn Lue's 3rd foul.
Misses the free throw, tipped around. Pierce gets it in the lane. Paul Pierce can't get it to go, and Mikey Moore tipped it in.
Well, you got to get Vincent Hamilton in the game. Danny Needs got him up off the bench. Nebraska's just getting crushed on the boards, and you cannot win a game if you can't get the ball back.
Credit the hoop to B.J. Williams, his first 2, but it was Mikey Moore that knocked it in. Moore kicks it out to Belcher. That's 3. Oh, Cookie Belcher from three-point land.
Now he's starting to light it up for Nebraska. He really hadn't taken that many shots coming in the last few games. But they're going to need something from the perimeter because they haven't been able to get anything inside until now.
Florence with the left hand, and the foul's going to be on Pierce. That's his first. So now Lou with 3 fouls, and that'll be a factor in the second half of this game.
They can't take a 3-point shot right off the break like they did in the first half with Bernard Garner taking 2 outside. They've got to get the ball inside, work it. They're not a great 3-point shooting team, but if they get set on the perimeter, they can hit it.
And the other thing is they don't get to the free throw line as much as they would like on the season. They've been about 100 fewer times than their opponent this year. And usually if you're not a good 3-point shooting team, you're really pounding it inside and getting to the line a lot.
Yeah, and they don't have either at the time, so it's really hurt them.
13-point Kansas lead. B.J. Williams in there, along with Pierce and Haas. Good defense right there by Nebraska, but Haas is able to get it back. Now Haas looking weak side that time, and it's off the shoulder of Florence. And it'll be Kansas basketball as Billy Thomas will check into the game.
Jared Haas really lucky in that last sequence that Kansas was able to get the ball back. 2 or 3 times he'd thrown it away, but the ball still stayed loose and they were able to come up with it. And that's why Billy Thomas is in the game right now and Haas is sitting on the bench.
14 on the shot clock. Thomas step back, 3-point land. Can't get it to go. Williams the offensive rebound. Quickly inside to Rafe LaFrance, who has it knocked outside. You know, Nebraska is a much better defensive basketball team this year than they've been in years past, as Pierce is fouled from behind.
Nebraska really has played solid defense. They've had their hands in the face of the Kansas shooters, but when the ball goes up on the glass, Kansas has just gotten it back and scored.
Foul was on Mikey Moore. That's his 3rd. To illustrate your point, they're allowing their opponents just 71 points per game. That's the best ever in Danny Nee's 11 years. And also, they're only allowing their opponents 40% from the floor. And if that maintains itself here through the tournament, that would be the best in 30-some years here at the University of Nebraska. So they are a much better defensive and rebounding basketball.
Well, they're not a very deep team, and so they realize that they have to play defense to be able to be in the game. But coming into this game, Nebraska out-rebounded their opponents by 6, but Kansas is destroying them. Look at that
nice shot. Little pull-up jumper on the baseline for Tyronn Lue. He's got 9.
He is so smooth. And he's only a sophomore.
I'll tell you what, he's got some bounce, too. He can get up in the air. And Pierce nails the three. They wanted the foul. Didn't get the call, and Pierce has 11, and Lou has it stripped away, and the foul on Vaughn. Third foul on Jock Vaughn.
Teron Lou is so fast with the ball. Watch him just take this off the outlet and take it all the way up. A couple spin moves, but one other thing that makes him so dangerous, not only can he get by you, but he can pull up in a minute.
I saw him throwing some tomahawk jams down. I mean, he has got some big-time bounce.
Yeah, he's an athlete. There's no doubt about it. And a great scorer for Nebraska this year. You're not going to be a point guard playing 5'11", which is probably more like his size, and not be able to be a great athlete and get the points that he does.
Makes the second one. Lou with 10 points, and the Kansas lead at 13 with 16:23 left to go from Lincoln. Piatkowski, Markowski in there now for Nebraska as Pierce in the lane. He does that so well, and he gets the roll. Paul Pierce with 13. And Kansas lead now up to 15 points.
Kansas goes to their 1-3-1 point zone. Nebraska worked on this in practice last night. They want to pull the bottom man out of it, get a guy open in the dead area, but
cross court to Lou. Now Billy Thomas on him. Markowski looks from the corner. Nice feed inside to Moore, who finds Piatkowski. Nails it from the baseline. That's what they need. Now they've only got 4 points off their bench today, and it's a 52-39 game.
Those are 2 big points right there. They work the offense, finally get an open shot. Corey Piatkowski had to hit that shot.
Vaughn can't get it down. Pollard the offensive board. Vaughn, the scoop underneath. Can't get the roll. Moore guides it outside, but now thrown away. Vincent Hamilton had it, and we got a timeout on the floor. Roger Schwabel, Chris Piper back with you in Lincoln. Kansas has out-rebounded Nebraska 37-18 so far today. And Nebraska, one of the best rebounding teams in the Big 12. They've out-rebounded 23 of their 28 opponents this year. But with Scott Pollard, this is the best he's looked since he's come back from the injury.
Yeah, he's much more mobile inside, really using that strength to push Nebraska around.
Lou for 3. Teron Lou with 13 points.
Nebraska got what they wanted against Kansas's 1-3-1 zone. Swung the ball, swung it back, and Teron Lou's wide open.
Vaughn, he'll go for 3. That's short, and Lou's got it. Watch the speed here. The bounce pass to Markowski, and in. First 2 of the game for Markowski. And it's an 8-point ball game. 5 unanswered points for Nebraska, and the turnover. Piatkowski got a piece of it that time. He's come off the bench and done some nice things. Lou, the pull-up. Can't get it. Pollard the rebound, and he's fouled inside by Andy Markowski.
Big possession by Nebraska. They really wanted that 2 points there, but again, Kansas smothers the defensive glass. You see Jacques Vaughn. I think they got a little hand on the ball, and Teron Lou gets it in a great position to lead the break.
Well, Lou has had this to say about Jacques Vaughn. He says he's really not an offensive threat. He just looks to get his team involved and be a floor leader. He says, I think Chauncey Billups, as he went on in that quote, is a better offensive player, but all Vaughn does is he's got about a 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. And to me, that's what a point guard's all about.
Exactly. That's what Kansas wants from Jacques Vaughn, and Paul Pierce now with the travel, his 3rd travel of the game, 4th turnover in the game. But you're exactly right, Jacques Vaughn, he's an offensive threat when he wants to be.
Yeah, exactly. And the reality is, he's just not going to get the assist when he's got to take that offensive load.
That's exactly right. Kansas again goes with their 1-3-1 zone defense.
Bradford and Robertson in there for the Jayhawks. Oh, Piatkowski for 3. Pollard the rebound. And what a difference it is having a healthy Scott Pollard in there on the boards. I mean, it just is such a huge difference. Kansas in the 10 games since he was injured and came back had been out-rebounded in half of those games. Before that, they'd only been out-rebounded once this year.
Well, 6'11", 265 pounds. He takes up some space inside. You see a lot of bodies going down that time. Scott Pollard really the most physical player on the Kansas team.
That was the 3rd foul on Markowski. As it's tipped around, Haas gets it back. Bounce pass inside to Pollard. And jump ball call. Arrow going to Nebraska.
Now Kansas trying to slow it down a little bit, going with this zone defense that they've done 3 straight possessions in a row now.
Markowski travel. You bring up a good point about what they've scored per game, Chris, at 73.5. Their opponents at just over 70. That's where Kansas really shines. Second in the nation in scoring margin. Almost 20 points a game. Kentucky leads the nation at over 22 points a game. Putting some distance between yourself and the opponents. And that 3-point shooting makes a huge difference.
Boy, look at the physical game going on inside between LaFrentz and the Nebraska big men. Watch LaFrentz and Pollard go up against Hamilton, Moore, and Markowski.
Well, neither of those players have scored in the second half. Pollard and LaFrentz, neither of those two have scored in the second half with 12-10 left to go in this game. 8-point Kansas lead. Well, surprise, Benson Hamilton wasn't expecting that, and Robertson commits the foul out in 3-point land. In the second half this year, this is where this kid really shines. He scored 60% of his points in the second half. 16 times he's had double figures in the second half. That shows you just how much they rely on him.
Well, definitely, and it shows you what a great player he is. Great players step up when they need him. And Tyronn Lue, maybe looking to pass a little bit more in the first half, get other guys involved, and then when it's time to put it on the line, he really steps up.
Well, neither team doing a great job shooting free throws so far today.
Well, Danny knew going into this game that Nebraska had to play their best game to win. And one of the things that they're definitely going to have to do is when they finally do get to the free throw line, they've got to hit them.
And we got a timeout, 11:59 left to go. Kansas with a 6-point lead over Nebraska. Nebraska on a 10-2 run. Pollard gets the 2 down low. And also from the creator of Picket Fences in Chicago Hope, the great drama, The Practice. And on Wednesday night after Drew Carey, Arsenio's back in a new comedy, Spygate. Premieres Monday, The Practice Tuesday, and Arsenio on Wednesday. That's on ABC.
Now they get the foul on Mikey Moore. Nebraska tried to get the ball inside. Mikey Moore now has 4 fouls. Kansas collapsed, and Mikey Moore gets the foul for trying to reach in and get the ball back.
And Pollard, his first 2 points of the second half a few moments ago. So we'll check on some other scores. A lot of conference tournaments going on around the country. 54-46. Kansas leads it. And Moore picks up that 4th foul. He'll remain in the game.
Well, Nebraska going to a zone defense as well, a 2-3 zone.
Robertson for 3. Oh, man, is that big right there by Ryan Robertson. His first points of the game. He knocked down a big 3-pointer against Oklahoma the other night right after he checked into the game.
Huge 3-pointer. Actually had 8 huge points for Kansas there in the first half, I believe it was, and he'd really been on a shooting slump for Kansas.
Belcher will go from 3-point land. Can't get it down, and LaFrentz the rebound.
Now this zone defense for Kansas has really confused Nebraska.
57-46. LaFrentz off the glass. Now he draws the foul, and LaFrentz wants it for goaltending. Second foul on Hamilton as Garner will check in the game, and Mikey Moore now will sit down. He leaves at the 10:40 mark with 4 fouls. As Rafe LaFrentz, 75% free throw shooter. You know, he's really stepped it up. Last year he was a 66% free throw shooter. So you know what that shows you, Chris? They had some guys that went on their own time during the offseason and worked, because that was really a weak point in the Kansas scheme of things a year ago, their free throw shooting.
Well, they really had tendencies in games to just not shoot well. Some games they shot well, other games they wouldn't shoot well. It was almost contagious for Kansas. But you know, a veteran team, they've been through the battles. They know what it takes to get up to the free throw line and shoot it. And then confidence is almost 95% of the game when you're shooting a free throw.
Pollard kept that tip alive as Kansas now with a 12-point advantage. They get it into LaFrentz. Pollard the follow. Man, that's a 1-2 combination that's going to be hard for anybody to handle in the NCAA tournament.
Well, definitely if you don't rotate defensively on the weak side, and Cookie Belcher didn't come down and help out. They helped out on the initial shot. Now Danny Nee's going to take a 20-second timeout to talk about it.
Good timeout there, Chris, because they're on an 8-0 run.
This has been a big game for Scott Pollard because I think in his own mind he's decided that he's back.
Big offensive possession right now for the Cornhuskers.
Yeah, they got to get the crowd back in it. The Nebraska crowd sitting on their hands right now after that run that Nebraska had, but they've gone flat again.
Garner, good position down low.
Nice strong move by Garner. Pushed Kansas underneath the basket, and with that strength of his, was able to take it up against the two Kansas big men.
Well, Garner's got the size, 6'7", 245. He can lay a body on you, and he can get that position on the low block as Robertson looked from three. He'll take it this time. Garner got a piece of him, no call. And Garner making like the point guard.
Well, he's got to look up. He's got to give that ball to Teron Lue on the fast break. Great job rebounding, but get the ball out of your hands.
Well, Belcher looked that time for Lue, who wasn't looking back the other way. Now Garner throws it along the baseline, and it will stay Nebraska basketball.
Nebraska really hasn't had much success inside, but watch this possession. Cookie Belcher throws over the top. Paul Pierce gets stuck behind, and Garner, with that strength of his, able to wait for LaFrentz to come over the top and finish the play.
All right, Lue will set it up on top. Just over 9 minutes to go, and Kansas leading by 12. Lue all the way to the basket over LaFrentz. And Rafe will pick up the rebound as Pierce and Garner went down on the deck, and they're pushing and shoving each other. Jock Vaughn drops it off to Robertson, and he's fouled coming inside. Piatkowski and Hamilton were both there as Ryan Robertson will head to the free throw line. 77% free throw shooter.
Ryan Robertson started the season at the point guard position when Jock Vaughn was out. He was fantastic at that spot for Kansas. Really didn't make a lot of mistakes. Had a great assist to turnover ratio.
2-to-1.
And his offense kind of struggled because he was so concerned with distributing the ball. But once Jacques Vaughn came back, Ryan Robertson takes a seat on the bench and is probably the happiest guy on the floor because, or on the team, because Jacques Vaughn's back. He's not like a lot of guys where he got upset about his lack of playing time. He accepted it and said, hey, we're winning. That's what matters.
Well, I think the Jayhawks' future at that position in good hands, whether it's Ryan Robertson or if it will be one of the point guards that Roy Williams trying to recruit for the future. But Ryan will do a good job there or at the off-guard spot. 62-48, 8.5 left to go from the Devaney Center. In Lincoln, nearly 15,000 on hand as Piatkowski will bring it inside a little bit closer and knocks it down. Now they've gotten some productivity from Eric Piatkowski.
You know, that is
just Troy, his brother Eric.
That is such a huge basket for Nebraska. Troy Piatkowski, this is only his 18th game this year. They've played 29 now, including today. So, I mean, he's a guy that hadn't had a lot of minutes, and for him to come in and hit big shots like that, and probably Nebraska's biggest game of the year, that's a real bonus.
He's got that good-looking left-handed stroke, doesn't he? It seems like every left-hander's got that nice, smooth stroke.
Runs in the genes there.
Yeah. Eight on the shot clock. Vaughn loses control and slips as he spins in there. Timeout on the floor. 7:49 left to go, and we'll return with more action from the Kansas-Nebraska game after this message. 62-50, 12-point lead. Lue, Belcher, Garner, Hamilton, and Piatkowski. As Mikey Moore picked up that fourth foul, and he's been sitting down since the 10.5-minute mark. And Hamilton got a hand in there on LaFrentz. Rafe able to maintain control.
Yeah, the Kansas big men are really holding their ground well when Nebraska guys get it inside, holding those arms straight up, and so far they haven't called a foul on him.
Well, that time Pierce was looking for Rafe LaFrentz, couldn't find him. LaFrentz 17 points, 10 rebounds today. It's his 17th double-double of the season, the 33rd of his career, averaging nearly 19 points and 9 rebounds a game.
Well, Nebraska has to find a key to beat this Kansas defense, this zone defense that they've thrown at them, a little 1-3-1 point zone.
Belcher from three-point land can't get it down, and Pollard the rebound. Scott Pollard with 11 boards today. Nebraska
did what they wanted to that time. They made the defense rotate. They got the wide open shot, just not able to hit it.
Offensive board, Pollard. And like a Nebraska player got a piece of it. Kansas will maintain possession. It looks now like Pollard's injury is okay. It's a good sign going into the Big 12 tournament and then on down the road if this team is going to go all the way in the NCAA tournament. And there is a story in itself right there. Rebounds, 47-22.
Well, and you got to look at Scott Pollard's presence on the floor for that rebound margin. But you're right, they've got to have Scott Pollard because you've got to have the big size inside when you get late in the tournament.
I think maybe LaFrentz can do a little bit more offensively without Pollard in there. But what we've seen today from Pollard, a lot of good offensive rebounds.
Also with Pollard in there, he can set a lot of screens and get LaFrentz open.
Mikey Moore is checked back into the game. He's got 4 fouls, and that's 5, folks. Well, I'll tell you what, it didn't take a couple of seconds.
Well, Kansas went right at him.
Fouling out with 6:23 left to go. Moore with just 5 points, all of those in the first half. As Rafe LaFrentz knocks down the first one. 18 points now after that free throw. Mikey Moore averaging over 11 points, nearly 8 rebounds, and 3 block shots a game. Just was not a factor today for the Cornhuskers.
Well, they needed much more out of him, and his presence not on the floor has really contributed also to Kansas's dominance on the rebounds.
Jayhawks up by 14 with just over 6 minutes to go from Lincoln.
And Kansas still is in that 1-3-1 point zone, waiting for Nebraska to try and figure out a way to beat it.
And you can see some frustration on Tyrone Lue as they go into Vincent Hamilton. Looking for the foul there on LaFrentz as Belcher kicks it back out to Lue for 3. I mean, that was from way outside.
I think he finally figured, what the heck, I finally got a halfway open look at the basket. I'm going to shoot it. And he was about 4 feet beyond the three-point line.
Quickly now to the other end. Now Kansas will pull it back, and Vaughn will set things up. Jayhawks 28-1 on the year, 14-1 in the Big 12 Conference. Loose ball, Markowski gets it to Lue. 5.5 to go. As you check out the scoreboard, Illinois beating Michigan. And I'll tell you what, the Wolverines have really stumbled late in the year as Markowski underneath is able to draw the foul.
You know, you've got to move the ball against Kansas's 1-3-1 zone. There's openings in it, but not if you're playing it straight up. You see Tyrone Lue passes the ball. Cookie Belcher actually finds Markowski wide open. Pass from the top. Paul Pierce too far inside.
Markowski just a 45% free throw shooter, and that doesn't look real good, but it was a good result. By the way, just to follow up on that Michigan, they've lost 5 games in a row now. That's going to be interesting to see how many teams out of the Big Ten go on to the big dance.
Yeah, 5 games in a row. They're going the wrong way at tournament time.
And he gets 1 of 2, and now a whistle.
B.J. Williams.
As B.J. Williams heads to the line. B.J. just 46% from the stripe. And LaFrentz over the top. Markowski getting a lot of playing time today. Mikey Moore is fouled out. Really Moore not a factor since the 10.5 mark as Hamilton in the lane. Looked like Pierce might have gotten a piece of it. Hamilton gets it back and knocks it down. So Vincent Hamilton, who had 9 in the first half, his first 2 of the second half, and Roy Williams wants a 20.
20 seconds.
Yeah, it's the first time he's really touched the ball inside as well.
4:57 left to go. Texas Tech a win over A&M today, and Tech will be seated 5th in the Big 12. They'll play Kansas State on Thursday. Kansas State with a win over Missouri yesterday. Pierce, and oh man, he is 4 out of 4 from three-point land today.
2 wide open, just 2 wide open. Nebraska with a little trap defense there, trying to trap the ball, and Kansas finds the open man.
Belcher trying to drive, and Pollard was right there, had his hands up. Pierce with 16 today. Cookie Belcher at the free throw line. 74 steals this year. He had 3 against Kansas in the early game, February 1st in Lawrence, which helped him set a freshman record here at Nebraska. But he is going to be a terrific basketball player for Danny Nee in the next 3 years.
He really is. But he's got the Mexico-Missouri pipeline open, doesn't he? Tyrone Lue and Cookie Belcher, both from Mexico, Missouri.
Just a short ways from Columbia. 67-54. Pollard inside. And I'm telling you what, Belcher, Hamilton, Piatkowski, a lot of folks are there. And now
well, Well, I don't think there was any way Nebraska was going to allow Scott Pollard to score that
and
time.
A technical was called on Belcher.
Cookie Belcher for talking after the play. They put Pollard on his back.
Belcher's gone with 4:23 left to go.
Really, other than Teron Lue, Cookie Belcher, the only other offensive threat that Nebraska has as far as putting the ball on the floor and taking it to the basket and creating something, which is what they need against this Kansas zone defense that they've thrown on them here in the second half.
Is Scott still doing the blue nail polish thing? I
haven't noticed.
I didn't get a close look.
Yeah,
I think he does have those blue nails working.
Well, he was wearing red for a while, but I don't think he wanted to, clash with Nebraska, so he wore blue.
You're probably right there. So Pollard hits both free throws. He's got 14 points and 12 rebounds today. And now LaFrentz will go to the line on the technical. Rafe with nothing but free throws here in the second half. He's now 4 out of 5. And I don't know whether he does them himself or if someone else can take credit for that. But they do match the jersey, don't they?
Oh, yeah, he's got the right shade. He's been trying to find the shade all year, actually, is what he said.
Well, when you're 6'11", you can do anything you want to do.
And he does.
He does.
He does anything he wants to do. He's going to be on a different wavelength than everybody else.
71-54 with 4:23 left to go.
Well, let's see what Nebraska can put together. They're going to have to get something going on the defensive end. Get the ball back in a hurry.
Pass wide open for about 10 and count it. He's fouled. The leaner in the lane by Jared Haas.
One of the things that Kansas does so well in their offense is set a lot of picks to get players open. Let's look at Jared Haas gets a pick from Paul Pierce, then gets a pick from Rafe LaFrentz. He knows his man is following him, so he curls the screen, takes it to the inside, and Troy Piatkowski, just a little overzealous there, follows through and knocks him to the ground.
You know what's made a big difference in Haas's game this year? He's taken so many fewer three-pointers this year. He's really concentrated his game on the inside. He took 188 three-pointers last year. This year only 74, and his shooting percentage has gone up 20%.
Much more selective on what shots he takes.
Blocked there by Pollard as Garner took it up.
Boy, the thing that has surprised me, if you would have told me going into this game that Kansas would out-physical Nebraska after the way Nebraska played Kansas in Lawrence, I'd have told you you're crazy, but Kansas is just taking it right at them.
Well, they've got 50 rebounds to Nebraska's 26 today. 74-54, 20-point lead. Nebraska really letting this thing get away from them in the last 5-6 minutes. You can go back to when Moore got that fourth foul at the 11:32 mark here in the second half.
Well, the other thing is this zone defense of Kansas not allowing Teron Lue to get any looks at the basket.
LaFrentz with his third foul as Garner took it up.
Nebraska doing some cutting. One of the things that they were not doing when Kansas first threw this zone defense on them was movement offensively. Now all of a sudden they've started to get the guys thinking that they have to move without the ball because against the zone defense of Kansas, movement is going to beat it. If you stand, you're going to get beat.
Nebraska just hasn't got it done at the free throw line. 9 out of 21 today.
Well, Danny Nee knew that they had to throw their best game at him, and that meant hitting every free throw, not turning the ball over, and rebounding well, and they haven't done any of those.
We've got a timeout, 3:43 left to go from Lincoln, and Kansas leads it by 19. Down on the baseline, LaFrentz, and from Jared Haas. So Rafe LaFrentz, that's his first field goal of the second half. He has got 23 points, and Kansas has got a 21-point lead with just over 3 minutes to go. As Garner takes it inside and draws the foul. There's the front court scoring today, and this man obviously has done the job at 23, but this guy with 14 points and 12 rebounds has been the real difference today. Well, he really has. They started B.J. Williams. You don't know whether Scott Pollard's going to be able to give you a good game or not, and he comes off the bench and plays fantastically. Not only points and his own rebounds, but the rebounds that he created for his teammates as well with his blocking out inside. And nobody enjoys the game better than Scott Pollard. And Mikey Moore with just 5 points and 4 rebounds before fouling out with about 6.5 to go. He sat out from about the 10:30 mark, came in, was in for like 2 seconds, and committed his 5th foul. So that really changed things around as Nebraska had put on an 8-2 run to pull within about 5 points midway through the second half. And then as Kansas does to so many teams, they just wear you down as the game goes on. And Pierce, the left-handed scoop. Paul Pierce. Boy, an exciting player. You really don't get to see what kind of talent he has right now because he kind of
subverts his talent to the other guys, lets the seniors play, lets the juniors score, but every once in a while he'll show you a little glimmer of what he can offer.
Well, he has got some terrific offensive skills. Piatkowski for three. That's short. Out of bounds. It'll go over to the Kansas Jayhawks, and 18 points for Pierce today, along with 8 rebounds. So that front court of Kansas really doing the job on the boards. LaFrance 10 rebounds, Pollard 12, and Pierce 8. At 78-56, Nick Bradford, TJ Pugh in the game now for Kansas, and that's Pugh with the left-handed runner, and count it. TJ from Creighton Prep in Omaha, Nebraska. Doesn't complete the three-point play, but Billy Thomas keeps it alive. Foul was on Piatkowski a moment ago. Less than 2 minutes to go. And that time Pugh takes it in and draws the foul. The 18 for Kansas, well, yeah, you could say. You saw Jock Vaughn earlier. Was our Payne Weber Student Athlete of the Year. Haas at 3.7, Robertson 3.8, Pugh 3.69, and McGrath at 3.55. Just about Chris Piper's scoring average during his career at Kansas. Those numbers.
That's a little high,
yeah.
Actually. I'm flattered you remembered. Not many people remember such an important stat like that.
81-56. Kansas is going to move it to 29-1 on the year, and Nebraska, unless they can run through the Big 12 tournament, is looking at the NIT again for the 3rd straight year. But they are the defending NIT champions. As Hamilton takes it inside and count it. And Kansas getting all the walk-ons in there now. Joel Branston, 20 checks into the game. C.B. McGrath in there. Steve Ransom also in the game. As Hamilton misses the free throw, Garner gets it back.
Terry Nooner in the game as well for Kansas, another Raytown guy. And there's Teron Lou, the other Raytown.
Lou knocks down the three, and it's a 20-point Kansas lead with just over a minute to go from Lincoln. Ransom can't get it. That's Nooner who gets the bounce pass inside, and Ransom knocks it down. If you're looking ahead, Kansas will play the winner of the Oklahoma State-Baylor game on Friday. So this will be the 242nd win in Roy Williams' Kansas career as Garner hits it. This is his 299th game in the 99th year of Kansas basketball.
Well, Steve Ransom going for a career high there, 4 points, but Nebraska throws it out. Roy Williams, 242 wins in 9 years. Unbelievable. He has put together a heck of a program at Kansas.
Trying to keep pace with his mentor, Dean Smith. And by the way, Carolina has got it cranking right now.
Yeah, they do.
They are going to be a factor. I think UCLA is another team people are going to have to look out for at tournament time. As the scoop underneath and Markowski gets it.
I'll tell you, UCLA is going to be tough. Any team that goes through that kind of adversity and then comes out ahead, there's somebody to be reckoned with.
Plus, they've got 4 players who played on that national championship team a couple of years ago.
Yeah, you can't beat experience once you get in the tournament.
The senior factor. Wake Forest has got it. Kansas has got it. UCLA has got it. And that'll do it from Lincoln, where Kansas takes care of Nebraska in the regular season final as Scott Pollard came through with 14 points and 12 rebounds. 85-65. The final here as Kansas moves it to 28-1 on the year. For Chris Piper, I'm Roger Twibell. The Jayhawks ranked #1 in the nation for 13 straight weeks.